So I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Where were you in Brazil? Just asking for a friend. Where?
Oh my God, man. All right. This is PG Irish. PG.
Anyways, hi, this is Scout
And William.
from Hypermentilating,
The podcast.
a show that follows life and change through the eyes of a father and a daughter. Join us as we find our way together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first topic of the day is why are men allowed to walk around topless and women aren't? So, first, personally, I've always found this, confusing. Personally, I don't think anyone should be allowed to walk around topless.
What, allowed?
But...
This is
But-
in your world.
But do I think
What would
it's
happen to people if they walked around topless in your world, in your perfect
fine.
world?
A fine, yeah.
They'd be fined.
I just... And
So if you were emperor, beach knobbers who took off their top would be fined walking on the
beach.
streets.
On
Well,
the
okay, not in the
street.
beach,
Yeah,
but
on the street, yeah. But
so where could you take off your top in your business?
your home, the beach,
Yeah.
the pool,
All right.
anywhere where it's
Not
appropriate.
a public pool though.
Yeah,
No, a public pool.
yeah. Anywhere where it's appropriate. But if you're walking around without a shirt on, you're a tool. No offense to anyone that does that, but you're
Well,
a
that's
tool
quite
if you
offensive.
do that.
You've just offended
No,
everyone who
I
does
don't
that.
care. You're a tool
Well,
if you walk around with your shirt
fair
off.
warning to anybody who out there who likes to walk around without their shirt on. If Scout gets in charge of the world, you're going to get fined.
Yeah.
All right.
But that being said, I think that if men should be allowed to allowed to walk around topless, why is it considered weird when women do it? Everyone's just made it, like something private.
Some
something
of that's cultural though too, right?
I know.
There's places where women can walk around topless too.
No, I know, but I'm talking like where we are.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I think it's just weird because you think cave women walked around covered up like the men did? I doubt that they did. Or did they?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I think it's
It's just like people
a
have,
double standard for sure.
and people have turned it into something sexual and something that
women's
should be.
breasts are sexualized.
No,
There's
they
no
are.
question,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Yeah.
know, and they are to a certain extent, but men.
Well, no, I mean that's just what we've done culturally, right? We've sexualized women's bodies in a way we haven't sexualized men's.
Yeah. Do I think anyone should be, and I'm not saying that anyone should be, once again, walking around topless, but if men are going to do it, then
No, I agree. It's a
I
stupid
think it should
double
be
standard.
okay for women to do it.
What?
Because, okay, if you're walking down the street and you see a man walking, running shirtless or walking shirtless, you don't really think twice about it. You kind of just look at him, maybe you think he's a tool, maybe you think, wow, he has a great body. But if a woman does it, even if a woman walks down in a sports bra, people kind of turn and are like, what is she doing walking around with her breasts out?
Yes. Not all people.
No, not all
Yeah.
people, but
some people
most.
are grown-ups about it.
But most.
A lot, I would say a
Yeah.
lot.
And it's just, I don't know, and then if a woman did it, you'd be like, what is she doing topless?
Well, yeah, it would be considered, not okay by society in general, I suppose. But that is because we've sexualized women's bodies to, an extent that's not the same as we've done with men, right? Like you know what? I don't even know if it's sexualized as much as fetishized. Like we've made breasts this thing of fetish, as opposed to just being a part of the body.
And
but a
also,
lot of that's, a lot of that is on advertising and everything too, and then the way too, women buy into it, and so it helps to perpetuate it when women will accentuate their physique, right? And so they make a point of dressing at times to draw your eyes to their chests, and so I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I have no problem with that. I just think that it all goes to making this kind of weird energy around a woman's body that doesn't exist around a man's.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it's stupid too.
Well, and another thing is, if women did it, they'd be ogled everywhere they went by men and women. They'd just be stared at. But when men do it, they don't really get stared at because it's kind of just not an everyday thing, but it is more normalized. So no one really tends to stare at it for too long. But if a woman did it, then they would definitely be...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I think it's, like I said a minute ago, I think it's a stupid double standard. And personally, it wouldn't bother me one way or the other. I would think the same thing of a topless woman walking down the street as I do of a topless guy. Okay, buddy. Everybody, we're all looking at you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's just a dude that's hot and just doesn't want his shirt on, right?
Yeah, like in Mexico, if you see a construction worker with his shirt off or her shirt off, or his shirt off, not her,
okay, I think that's a better example. If you're in a situation like a pool, say, I think that's a better example then for our discussion. So say you are at a public pool and a guy can walk around without his shirt on because that's just the way it works, right? He only needs to wear shorts, and as long as he's not naked, we're like, yeah, all right, buddy. Even if he's wearing a Speedo, we might roll our eyes if that's, but you're like, all right, whatever. But yeah, if a girl was to, even if she has on just a thong with a couple of little strips covering her boobs, everybody's like, yeah, that's fine. But God forbid she was to take her top off and walk around, a lot of people would lose their minds, and that's ridiculous. It's stupid, it's childish, it makes no sense to me at all. Oh, it's not that it doesn't make sense. I get where the the patriarchal society and but we've done that. We've sexualized women's bodies to the point where if a woman was to do that, everybody or a lot of people would lose their minds because they would think she was being I don't know what, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess some of it's because a woman's body is used for more than a man's body is used for too, right? Like having babies and feeding babies. Maybe that's a part of it too that makes some people uncomfortable, right? Like there's still places where I think some people there's lots of places in the world where a woman can't even be uncovered her face, let alone her body.
Yeah.
But even in places that are more freer than that, there's still places that people are uncomfortable if a woman is feeding a baby in public, that's insane. Like I don't know why anybody would be disturbed by a woman breastfeeding, but lots of people are still,
Yeah.
Which to me is that's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just about as natural an act as you can get.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, my thoughts are that if a man can walk around bare-chested in the wild.
Yeah, in the wild, yeah.
And a woman can't, I think that's weird. I think that's even more weird than if a woman were to walk around with her breasts out.
But again, it's partly cultural, Irish.
Okay, I know, but we're talking about where we are.
I know, but I mean, we're in a small sliver of the world, right? Like there's, I've been in Brazil and seen women that are bare-chested that are in the country and that, right? And you don't think twice about it. Like it's not. It's just because of that exactly. It's hot, and I don't feel like wearing a shirt today. It's the same as the dudes are walking around beside them without a shirt on because it's hot and they don't feel like wearing a shirt today.
Yeah.
And nobody's thinking twice about it. Nobody's, fetishizing or sexualizing that. They're just, so a lot of it is how we collectively view these things, right? Like even you, okay, a woman walks down the street without her top on, you're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Because you can't help yourself because it would be so striking, so shocking to see because in our societies, that isn't something that you see. But as soon as you go to a place where it's accepted, unless you're a small-minded dweeb, you right away, you don't even think about it. Like when I saw this in Brazil, for a second I was like, well, that's different. And then boom, that was it. After that, it was nothing because it was nothing to them. And so if it's not bothering the woman, I don't see why it should bother anybody around her. And
so I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Where were you in Brazil? Just asking for a friend. Where?
Oh my God, man. All right. This is PG Irish. PG.
Anyways.
No, it's cultural.
Well,
I mean, I could have been probably any number of places there. I wasn't in a large city, but even there on the beaches, you would see bare-chested women, and you don't think about it. Man, I can go back decades being in Italy, on a beach in Reggio in Italy, and seeing bare-chested women. And you know, the first time when I was younger, and I was like, whoa. But then after about 2 minutes of that, unless seriously, you are the most limited person on earth, after a couple of minutes, when you realize that, well, yeah, okay, boobs, and then nobody cares, and then why would you care? Because essentially it is exactly the same thing as having a bare-chested dude. It's exactly the same thing.
That's the thing, because, like, if I saw someone...
Yeah.
A woman, topless. For a second there, I'd be like, what? But then I'd be like, oh, good for her. Like, I wouldn't...
It's neither here nor there, really, is it? I mean, you know, I hope you're wearing sunscreen.
Yeah, like...
like, whatever.
Don't burn yourself.
Yeah. Or you'd roll your eyes and be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you got everybody looking at you. Because let's face it, most dudes who walk down the street without a shirt on are looking for attention.
Yeah, or they're hot. They're just hot.
Well, yeah, but they're still looking for attention. Like, the vast majority of guys do not take their shirt off to walk, you know, to the mall.
No.
They just don't, because they realize it's like kind of a greasy move.
Unless you're from Guadalajara.
Okay, that's a whole other thing, man.
Good chat. Next, we have, is talent subjective, and are there some things that shouldn't be considered talent, or some things that should be considered talented?
All right, then.
Okay, well, as you know, I have strong feelings about this, because I personally think that the word talented is thrown around a lot. Because I saw this video one time, it was like, celebrities' secret hidden talents, and it was like one of the Kardashians making bird noises, and I was like, are we joking right now? Is this a prank show? I was truly shocked, because I was like, that's not talent.
Well,
that's just no.
What if they could make bird noises into Beethoven's Ninth or a sonata?
Okay, that's different.
Would that be a talent?
Yes.
All right.
This is different though. She was just making cool bird noises. If someone sat down, watched a video on how to make cool bird noises, anyone could do it. Okay. Anyone.
So what's a talent?
Unless you're
then?
mute.
What's a talent?
A talent. Something that is not often seen, that you're shockingly good at. Or just something you're shockingly good at.
I mean, I think a talent, I don't know. If you can do something that most people can't, that's a talent.
Yeah.
But if you can do something that many people can, that can still be a talent.
Yeah, I don't know though. Because then you could consider riding a bike a talent.
Fair enough, but in a way it is. It's, to me, okay, a hidden talent, yeah, something that's a little more unusual than riding a bike, sure. I would agree with that. But then what draws the line? Then your question is talent subjective? Well, in a way it is subjective. I play the guitar. Is that a talent?
Yeah.
Why, man? I'm a hack.
No, you're not. You're cutting yourself short here. You're a good guitar player.
I'm okay. I can play how I play really well, but I can't. There's all kinds of things that I can't do on the guitar.
But that's my description of talented. You can do something really well. Just because you don't play like everyone else plays doesn't mean that you're not talented in playing the guitar.
But I don't think I honestly, like, I'm not trying to be falsely modest here. I don't think that is a talent.
I think
that's something that I enjoy doing, and I like to fiddle around, and it makes me happy, and I've developed some facility with it, but that's not a talent. Like, I can I'm trying to think of what I can do that's a talent. Like, like I'm a good writer. I consider that more of a talent than the guitar playing, because I think there's more of me in that. I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Talent is kind of subjective in that way, right? We can all agree that, okay, that guy can, what about people who learn to do weird things like lift weights with piercings and stuff? Is that a talent?
No, I don't think so. Because to me,
most people can't do it.
No, I know. Yeah. But that's something that you've sort of trained yourself to do.
Okay.
Or that's something that you've...
Okay, so you're saying that talent then is some kind of an inherent skill that you were born with?
No, so wait, I'm going to try and explain my...
Right.
Okay, because I've sort of thought about it, and it makes sense to me now.
Okay.
But talent is something sort of like either playing an instrument, singing, maybe you're really good at a sport. I'd say that's talented. But if you can do things like lift weights with piercings, or something kind of odd that you've trained yourself into that isn't well known, I wouldn't call that talented. I'd just call that really cool and kind of something that no one else can do. Because a talent to me is something that not many people can do, but still people can do. Like, other people can do it. But if you're doing things like, okay, you use the example lifting weights with piercings.
Well, I'm kind of regretting that as that example popped into my head, but yeah, all right.
Yeah, but that's something that you've trained yourself to do. Yeah. But it's also something
to be clear, not me.
No, I know. Yeah. No, but the person who's trained themselves to do. I wouldn't call it a talent, though.
You caught that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just something that it's so hard to explain because it makes so much sense in my head. But, like, so basically, for example, I can sing. Would I call myself talented in singing? Probably not.
But it is a talent that you have.
But it's a talent. But
that's two different things. Are you really great at something, or can you do something? It's not the same thing. That's why I brought up the guitar thing. I'm not a great guitarist, man.
No, but
I can play the guitar.
You're talented in playing the guitar.
For me, it's a talent. Yeah. It's a talent for me, because it's like if somebody said to you, all right, what can you do, man? Billy, what can you do? And I'd say, well, I used to play hockey pretty well. Like, I can write. I can play the guitar a bit. Like, there's things that I would list that I would say, okay, these are things that I can do. These are talents that I have. I'm good at math, that kind of thing, right? But I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a guitarist, so at some point it is kind of subjective then, right? To answer your original question, is talent subjective? A little bit, because, I may be able to do something, and so for me it's a talent, but I'm not. So I couldn't present it to the world at large as, oh, look at this, I'm talented.
Well, like, for example, you say that you can write. I'd say that that's your talent. I'd say that you're a really talented writer. Like Madish, I'd say that he's an insanely talented jiu-jitsuer. Like, that's what... And I just, like, those are talents to me.
Well, okay, because he's a good example then.
Well, yeah, because, okay, in jiu-jitsu, there's a certain amount of kids. And I'd say that in those amount of kids, there's a certain amount of them that are really talented at the sport.
Yeah.
Like Madish, he's very talented at it. So I'd say because that's a select amount of kids in a select amount of kids that are good at that sport, that's talent. The other kids that are doing it and are good at it but aren't as good as the other kids.
So you don't have talent in jiu-jitsu?
I'm good at it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm as good as Madish or that I'm, as good as some of the other kids in the class. I'm good. And I hold my own for being smaller than everyone, but
it is a talent you have. Like if you were to list the things that describe Scout, one of the things that would have to go on that list is your 8 years of jiu-jitsu. I mean, it is a talent you have. So yeah, you might not be the most skilled, but it is a talent you possess.
So then I would say that that talent is subjective. Everyone has their own idea of what talented is.
Yeah.
Some people think that anything that you're good at is talent, or like me, that you have to be insanely good at something or just really good at it.
Think about somebody. What about if somebody's born like, say if you're just born with a huge skill at something, like as a singer, say, you don't even train, you're just really good at it. Your ear is perfect, your voice, your tone, your pitch, your everything, your understanding of how the instrument of your vocal cords work. Is that a talent? That's almost like just a gift. Like, you know? Like, it is a talent. There's no question it's a talent. But is it somebody like Wayne Gretzky, say, who was just clearly born to play hockey?
Okay,
it doesn't matter what else. He was born to play hockey, man. The level that he achieved is so far beyond what the normal person achieves. That if only he can be called talented. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you couldn't call the 10 people below, or Mozart, 5 years old, making concertos or whatever he was doing, right? Like, that means that if he's talented, that anybody else playing the piano or composing music are they not? Because they're not at that level.
I've thought about this, and I think that if you're born into something like that, you're born to just be naturally athletic at hockey, as Wayne Gretzky is, or even McDavid is. That's a different thing. You're just like you're just so good at the sport.
Otherworldly, you were going to say.
Yeah, otherworldly. Yeah. You're just that good at the sport. That's not even talent anymore. Because talent is like, it's just something you're really good at, right? But if you're as good as Wayne Gretzky at something, you're the Wayne Gretzky of singing, of guitar. You're the Mozart of painting.
Yeah.
You're in a different category.
Okay, so
that's not talent anymore.
But it is, though. Right? It's just that it's so
talent,
good that it's transcending what the rest of us can do.
Like, I'd say that there's...
But it's still talent. So that's kind of answering your question. Is it subjective? I mean, it kind of is.
It is, 100%. Is talent subjective? That's the question for this topic. Yes, it is.
It seems like we're getting to that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. That was a good conversation. Okay. Next, change happens. Or, sorry, on the spot.
On the spot. Okay, you're on the spot. When was the first time that you realized that friend actually meant something? Like that, you grow up here in this, from the time before you remember, you're being told, oh, well, she's my friend, he's my friend, we're friends, they're friends. Oh, your little friend's coming over. Are your friends going to play with you? But then at some point you realize that, wait a minute, like I've got this big pack of people that I hear are friends, but they're not the same. It's not the same. So as like that person, as this experience, as this relationship. So when is the first time that you realized that friend was something different?
Okay. Well, when I was growing up, I had like the little pack of neighborhood kids that I would hang out with, right? But that's just kind of different. That's just kids that, your parents are friends with. Well, my parents were friends with. And then, I grew up and I went to school, actual school. And in first grade, that sounds about right?
I think so. It might have, was it K3? I think I know what you're going to say here.
Yeah, first grade. First grade, for sure. Yeah, first grade.
First grade.
Because I remember saying hi to her at, like, the first day kind of speech thing that the teachers would do. And I remember meeting her because she sat in front of me and I was sitting behind her.
Okay.
And I was just little, so obviously I was going to make friends with her like any other little kid would do.
Why is it obvious?
Just because, well, I don't know, but in my class it was. Everyone made friends with the kid that was in front of them.
Okay.
And for me, it was this girl. So she had a twin, and I was close with her twin too, but me and this girl, we were very close. I loved her, and she was the first time that I ever kind of realized there's a difference between a kid that you hang out with and a kid that you like hanging out with, but then someone that has your back, someone loves you because you're weird or because of the way you act, and not because of how much, like, and not because of your parents, you know? And yeah, because we didn't really have anything in common. Like, she was fully, like, Mexican, fully. And, you know, my parents were not. And she had a twin sister and I had a brother, but we just clicked. So, I don't know. And I loved her vibe.
You had a great deal in common, really.
Yeah.
Like, as people, like, you had a sense of humor in common. You had an approach to life in common. You saw the same things the same way, I think, right?
Yeah, and we're still in contact.
I know what you mean. Like, you didn't have a lot of external things in common, maybe, but you certainly had a lot. Is that not what part of realizing that real friendship, a real friend, is different than all of that external stuff? It's a very internal thing, isn't it? Like, you connect on a level that's real. Yeah, and like I never even went to her house. You know, I met her mom, and I loved her mom so much. Yeah, I met her sister, but we didn't even have that kind of connection. We never went to each other's houses. We never had sleepovers. None of that. But we always hung out at school together. I don't know how to explain it. We just... Remember that party in the mall?
Yeah.
When Pa's photobombed one of the pictures, and her sister came too.
Yeah, it was at the spa, and I invited almost every girl from my class.
No, it was small though. No, I don't think so.
No.
It
was the sisters and my other friend, who was my friend, but not as much as
it was mostly you wanted to invite
these two girls, the twins.
Well, I mean, you invited her sister because I mean, I think I was
friends with her twin.
It's interesting, actually. It's interesting that you had this experience with this sort of understanding of, okay, there's something different about a real friend with a twin. And it wasn't like they were twins and you hardly saw the other twin. They were twins, identical, and in your classroom. And you got along fine with her sister. It wasn't like they were so different. You just couldn't get along with her at all. It wasn't like that at all. Because they were actually quite similar in a lot of ways.
Very.
They were truly identical. But there was something about the way you and she interacted that was different than how you and her sister interacted. So even though... you know, with her sister, you got along fine. There was no issues at all. She was a good kid too. But it was just, there was something that connected between you two. And that's kind of what I was getting at, right? Like that's that thing where there's something about a true friend, a real friend. It's a person that you just feel comfortable around, and there's somehow, it's not the same as that big pile that you call friends, that really most of them are just...
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had friends before her.
Oh, for sure you had.
But it just wasn't the same. We just really, really, really got along. And like you were saying, you guys might be thinking like, oh, twin. No. They were identical.
No,
the only way I could tell them... Actually, I could tell them apart easily from the back of their heads. But the only way someone like far away or even up close would be able to tell them apart was my friend had a freckle on one of her cheeks. I don't remember. But she had a freckle on one of her cheeks, and that was the only way you could tell them apart.
Sure.
But they were same height, same haircut. Everything was the same, especially because we had uniforms. So, they were always in the same class. They were always in the same group. So they would wear the same uniforms every day. And so it would be so hard to tell them apart. Not for me.
It really was. So that's okay. So that's when you realized that.
What about you?
Friend was something different, like having a friend. I think for me, and I think maybe even for you too, it's more of a thing you do in retrospect, right? Because I'm asking you the question, so you're going back into the Wayback Machine, and it's not like at the time you were like, oh wow, this is completely different. It just sort of morphed into now when you think about it. Yeah, that was my first real friend. The first time I felt like, okay, this is not the same.
Yeah.
There was a kid in grade 3 for me. And I remember, it was just grade 3. And we were just friends because we were both kind of like little competitive nerds. We had to do the times table, and you got a star whenever you did it. Yeah. Bernie Jankowski. And we had this star. You'd get a star, and we had this little competition going on to see who could finish the 12 times tables first. And that just made us friends because rather than being enemies about it, we just both were like, oh, you like math too? I like math. And then so we just had a little nerd friendship. But I
friendly
remember
competition.
Yeah, but he's the first kid that I remember like going to his house. Mm-hmm. So 3, I was like 8, and his parents must have picked us up, or my parents or whatever, and just hanging out at his house. And that's the first time I remember realizing that all friends were not created equal. Yeah. That there was some kids that were just somehow you were more compatible with, that there was just a more pleasant, more interesting experience to engage with them, right? Mm-hmm. A friend, like somebody that you just knew that, okay, I'm safe here. Like I can be myself with this person.
Yeah.
Which is a tremendous thing, right? And then you don't, because at the time you don't realize how tremendous it is that like it's rare. It's not a thing that crops up on the regular. It's a very rare thing to make an actual friend,
I've
not
had
just
2
an
real
acquaintance.
friends in my whole life, and one of them didn't end well.
I can only count on one hand how many real friends on that level I've had, for sure. When people say, "Oh, I've," if there's somebody who says, "Oh, I've got 100 friends," and I'm like, "No, you don't, man.
You don't.
You just don't. It's just not how it works. Like, to have that connection with another person that's not based on anything. It's not a physical thing. It's not even an emotional or intellectual thing. It just is, right? You just know that, okay, we're compatible. Like, as far as being able to sit in silence or in noise.
Yeah, exactly.
We're okay.
There's this girl and I used to joke that real friends can sit in bed and watch TikToks or go outside and hang out. Because, there's more to the joke than that, but that was the base of it, because we did so many things, but 2 of the main things was we would go on walks to the park or we would sit in bed and do nothing together and like watch a movie or just scroll on our phones separately.
I think that maybe that's as good a way as any to define a friendship, or begin to define a real friendship, is, can you do nothing together?
Yeah.
Because if you can do nothing with somebody, you're probably friends.
Because a lot of the times, if you do something with someone that you're having over for the first time and you're just sitting alone, it's awkward. Mm-hmm. It's like that awkward sort of air feeling. But if you're with a friend that you know you can trust, or you're starting to trust, and you're just doing nothing together, there's going to be none of that awkward feeling.
No.
It'll just be natural. Okay.
All right.
Good chat. Next. Care to... Go ahead.
Care to what, Miss Kajang? Care to what? I care to a many a thing.
Well, you have it on the spot, right?
No, you just did on the spot.
Or, sorry. Hear me out.
Meh.
Yeah, that's my hear me out right there.
What is yours? Meh. Meh. Mm-hmm. How is that a hear me out? What are you over there making weird faces about? All right. Hear me out. What did I want to do? Oh, yes. Tailgaters.
Oh, no.
Tailgaters, man.
Here we go.
No, here we go. But seriously, like... how do I put this that doesn't look bad in court? Like, I used to think that there should be a button in your car, and for somebody tailgate, you could just push it, and then they just vaporize them. But then I realized, like, you can't have that.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, you can't do that. Maybe there's an innocent person in the car with them. But there is a part of me that get so enraged that
Oh, I know, I've
I
seen
don't
it.
find that that's an overreaction when people tailgate, because it's so insanely dangerous. It's so dangerous
And mean.
and pointlessly dangerous to tailgate. Like, it's just pointless. It creates danger that doesn't need to exist. Like, one of the easiest ways to make driving safe is if everybody gave everybody space, right?
Yeah.
Because then everybody has a chance to stop, to make a move, do something defensive. Everybody's got a chance to correct for their own stupidity. Everybody has a chance. But as soon as you tailgate, especially at speeds, like if you're at 60 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, there's no room, man. There's no room. Like, if something runs out in front of me and I tap the brakes, wham, the person tailgating me is crushing into me. And then people get hurt, they get killed, all because of some idiot's desire to get right bumper to bumper with somebody like they're in an IndyCar race or a stock car race or it's Formula One. It's like, what are you doing, man? There's no time to react.
It's just dumb because not only does it put you in danger, it also puts the tailgater in danger. Like,
oh, for sure, it puts and it puts the people in the lanes beside you,
in front of you.
The woman walking with her kid on the side of the road, and the dog over there. It puts everybody in danger. But the thing for me, Irish, that makes me irate, it isn't even the risk taking of it and all that, because people make stupid decisions and do stupid things. It's the conscious stupidity of it, and it's the conscious recklessness of it. Like, it's the fact that it doesn't have to happen. There's no reason for it. It serves no purpose. And if you're doing it to somebody who's nervous, like, I'm not a nervous driver, it just makes me crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it to somebody who's a nervous driver, now you're making them even more nervous. And then usually it's because some dude wants you to get out of the way, because it could be a woman too, but invariably, almost always, it's a guy, but sometimes it's a woman too. Increasingly, actually, I find that it's women too. Like, it's just idiots who are just being aggressive for no reason. And so it serves no purpose. It just serves no purpose. So it endangers people's lives. And it just has gotten worse for me as when I became a parent. Oh my God, it was 1,000 times worse. I'd have you two in your car seats in the back seat, and somebody would be tailgating me. I just, it's hard not to lose my mind. So there you go. That's my hear me out, man.
That's a good hear me out.
Tailgaters.
That's a good hear me out.
Tailgaters. I don't really think they should be vaporized. I mean, you know.
We'll just leave it at that.
It's so all of those things that when people do things that put other people at risk for no reason. If I can even see a reason, I might still think, well, you're a jerk, or you're worse than a jerk, right? Mm-hmm. But if I can see a reason, at least I can go, well, I see why you're doing it. I might think it's stupid. I might not agree with it. I might think you should go to prison for it. But I can see why you're doing it. Yeah. But tailgating's one of those things, and it's just like, well, you're just being reckless. It's being a bully in a 4,000 or a 2,000 pound machine that can kill. So it's just, and it's such a cowardly bully act too, right? It's
like, get out of the car.
All right.
Okay. Good chat. I love you.
I love you, Irish.
Next time.
Yes, next time. Oh, that was episode the 29th.
I said it first. 29th.
I can edit this. So you're going like this. I don't know, Dad.
You don't have the skills.
Oh, yeah.
29th. Got you again. I love you.
I love you.